Dust boiled up from the dry wagon trail, twisting into the late afternoon light like smoke from some hellish fire. The wheels rattled across jagged stone, each crack of the reins laced with cruelty. The man driving, lean, scarred, eyes sharp as barbed wire, spat his tobacco into the dirt and jerked hard at the lines. Two foals, no more than a few months old, stumbled behind the team. Their legs buckled on the uneven ground, ribs jutting through patchy hides. One collapsed with a pitiful whinny. The cowboy didn't so much as glance back. With a growl of disgust, he cut the rope, letting the small creatures fall in the dust, abandoned like broken tools. He cracked the whip once more, urging his horses into a hard gallop, disappearing into the horizon's haze. Only silence followed. Silence, and the ragged breathing of the two left behind. Hours passed. The sun began its slow sink, bleeding crimson across the sky, until the prairie seemed painted in fire. Heat shimmered from the ground, broken only by the foals' shivering forms. One tried to stand, failed, then collapsed again. Vultures circled high above, waiting. That was when Elias Boone came upon them. His boots sank into the powder-dry soil as he trudged down the lonely track, the weight of his rifle heavy across his shoulder. His hat brim shadowed a face carved by years of war and wandering. The war had ended nearly a decade past, but for Elias, its smoke still lingered in his lungs. Its dead still clung to his dreams. He carried their ghosts with him, same as he carried the scar across his chest where a Confederate bullet had near taken his life. He was riding nowhere, and that was the truth of it. Nowhere, and for no one. The frontier was scattered with men like him, widowers, veterans, drifters with no home but the road. He had been moving since Appomattox, never staying longer than a season, never daring to plant roots in soil that always seemed too quick to turn to dust. But when his eyes fell on the foals, all that weariness stopped him cold. Their legs twisted beneath them, hides streaked with sweat and blood. They trembled at his shadow, ears twitching, eyes wide with terror. Elias crouched, lowering himself slow, careful not to frighten them further. His calloused hand hovered just above one trembling flank, and in that moment, the battlefield ghosts in his chest stirred. He had seen men in that same state, broken, abandoned, left to die in the dirt. He could not walk on. Easy now, he murmured, though he knew the foals couldn't understand. His voice was hoarse from disuse, but it came softer than it had in years. He unstrapped the canteen at his belt and tilted it toward their mouths. At first, they resisted, too frightened, too weak. Then one licked tentatively at the water, tongue rough against the tin. The other followed. Elias let them drink, rationing carefully. He had little enough for himself. The prairie stretched endless around him, a desert of ochre and gold, broken only by the jagged teeth of far-off mesas. Night would soon creep across that expanse, and with it, the dangers Elias knew too well. Coyotes, wolves, outlaws, worse. He rubbed at the stubble on his jaw, cursing low. To stay meant risking his own survival. To leave meant abandoning them. He thought of Sarah, his wife, gone these 10 years to fever, and of their little boy, who had not lived past his 5th spring. The ache welled sharp and sudden in his chest. He remembered small fingers curling around his hand, remembered the weight of a child's trust. The memory carved his decision before he could turn away. He tore strips from his own shirt, binding the foal's wounds as best he could. The cloth darkened with blood, but he worked on, jaw set. His movements were clumsy. He was no healer, only a soldier who had learned how to stop bleeding in the field. Still, the foals quieted beneath his hands. One laid its head in the dust, exhausted but breathing steadier. The light dimmed. Elias's eyes swept the horizon. The trail behind him was marked with deep wagon ruts, and though the man who left these animals might be miles away by now, Elias felt the prickling certainty of eyes on his back. He had survived too long not to trust such instincts. He slung his rifle down from his shoulder and set it beside him, within reach, as the first stars prickled the indigo sky. The prairie wind shifted. A sound rose faint in the distance. Hooves. Slow. Deliberate. Not a wild horse. A rider. Elias's body went rigid. He set his hand on the rifle stock, pulse quickening. The foals stirred at the sound, ears flicking nervously. Whoever was coming, they weren't trying to hide. The hoofbeats grew louder, nearer, echoing across the barren road. In the deepening twilight, Elias Boone stood over the two broken creatures, every muscle taut. Alone, outnumbered by the night and its threats, yet unwilling to move. He had made his choice. Whatever came next, he would not leave them.